Hey guys, Jeremy here once again. Welcome back to another video from No Coast Comics. I bought a collection, hit up a couple of local comic stores I don't get to very often, and have a little auction win to share with you guys. We're going to be joined by our friend Dumpster Fire from 100% Soft this time, also my friend Rocket back there. If you're enjoying the channel, I appreciate a like on the video, a subscription to the channel, and hit that bell notification that lets you know when I post new content. A lot of good stuff to get to this time, so let's check it out. Before we get started on what I picked up from these local comic shops I don't hit up very often and the best things out of a collection that I bought last week, I'm going to show you guys a little auction win that I won. There's a local auction house that they also have an online way to bid. Fortunately, I was out of town and I was able to make an online bid. I won it. I got it for a pretty good price. So let me just show you guys what it is. And luckily it came in the top loader. So this is the Spectacular Spider-Man Treasury #1. It's probably in a very fine near mint. There's a little bit of wear up here. There's a lot of glare there. But yeah, I was very happy to bring this home. I mean, obviously it's huge compared to a normal comic. Here's the backing board of a normal comic size for comparison. But if you don't know anything about these treasuries, they made quite a few of them back in the 70s. Have a couple in the collection, but they're just so awkward to store. But this, I think, I ended up getting this for about $50, and it's in really good condition. Just a little bit of spine wear up here, but very happy to get that. Don't see those very often in really high grade. That one was nice enough that I figured I would pay up a little bit for it. So first, I'm going to tell you guys about some books I picked up over the weekend. I was out of town and hit up a couple local comic book shops. One I'd never been to before, and the other, it had been probably 5 or 6 years. So found some cool books. Let's just get right into it. First one, Wolverine #8, the classic Wolverine and Hulk. Cover art there. I might be sending this one into CGC. It is that nice. I think I paid $8 or $8.50 for this book. I'm really happy to find this one. I do not have a copy of this right now. Next book, New Agents of Atlas #2. I believe this is the first appearance of Swordmaster, and there's been some spec on this one. This might be going to CGC as well. It's a very nice copy. This book I pulled out of a $3 box. So stuff is out there still in the wild at comic book stores, especially in small towns. Next one, X-Men #4. This is not quite nice enough to go to CGC, but first appearance of Omega Red. Yeah, it's probably maybe a very fine near mint copy. A lot of spec with Omega Red right now. Next one, Wolverine #17. Awesome John Byrne cover there, classic. Again, not nice enough to go to CGC, but I think I paid, these last ones, I think on this X-Men one, I got it for, I want to say about $5, $6. This one was right around the same $5, $6 range. Oh, I guess I have it right on there, $5.25. Okay, this one I was very happy to find. I do not have any copies of this right now. X-Men 221, first appearance of Mr. Sinister. It's probably about a, near mint minus, maybe near mint if I'm lucky. So not going to CGC, but very happy to have that one in the collection again. A lot of spec with Mr. Sinister. Has been for quite a few years, so he's bound to actually, happen in the movies at some point. Now this book, I've had a few copies of. Always pick it up when it's cheap. Superboy #9, first appearance of King Shark, with the Suicide Squad movie coming out. Well, James Gunn's version of the Suicide Squad movie. It's not really, I don't think they're calling it a reboot, but it pretty much is. Yeah, that's always a book that I look for. I think that one I paid $3 or $4 for. It was just a nice find in the back issue bins. This one I have a few copies of, and I can still never get one that's nice enough to send into CGC. This is a near mint copy, but not what I'd call a 9.6 or 9.8. It's probably about a 9.4. This is Avengers number 7, the new Avengers number 7, first appearance of the Illuminati. There's been a lot of spec on the Illuminati, eventually making their way into the MCU. So I always buy these when I see them reasonably priced. I think I paid $3 for that book. This one I paid $3.25 for, looks like, still the price tag on there. Black Panther number 3 from, which volume is this? I think the third, fourth volume, something like that. This is the second appearance of Shuri, the Black Panther's sister, obviously. With the untimely death of Chadwick Boseman. Some of these books are heating up a little bit. You know, people think that maybe Shuri is going to be in the Marvel Universe as the Black Panther sooner than later now. But, yeah, very unfortunate for his untimely death for, you know, the world. We'll miss him. Here's another Black Panther book with Shuri on the cover. I think I paid, yeah, looks like $4.25 for this one. I think this is the first time that she's on the cover in the costume. I don't think that she technically becomes a Black Panther until number 5 of this series. This is the volume after the last one I showed you guys. Yeah, $4.25 for that variant. Not a super haggard copy, a lot of spine damage, but it's probably very fine near mint. Still happy to add that to the collection. Another Black Panther book from that same series, number 3. Just another awesome Shuri cover. I paid $3.25 for that one. This one's probably another very fine near mint. Changing things up a little bit, we got Thor 6/17, first appearance of Kid Loki with the Disney Plus and all that stuff. People are thinking that Kid Loki is going to make an appearance in the Loki show. So I've been grabbing these whenever I see them for basically cover price. Speaking of the Suicide Squad earlier, Birds of Prey number 56. This is the first appearance of a character called Savant that's going to be played by Michael Rooker, who is really good friends with James Gunn in the new Suicide Squad movie. I've not found a copy of this in the wild until now. I paid $3 for it. Happy to have that one. Again, not a high grade copy, maybe very fine, but my first copy of that. And then this one's kind of an oddball. Ball and Chain number 1. I know this was optioned. I don't remember if it was, I think The Rock was involved in it at one point, maybe still is. Not sure how far it is along in casting, but I picked that up for $1 out of the dollar bin. I just happened to flip through there. They had a lot of oddball stuff, and this I think was one of the only things I pulled out of the dollar bin. But so that's the best stuff that I got from looking at the local comic shops out of town. So the next thing we're going to talk about is a little collection I picked up last week. I got an email from somebody who said, I have a bunch of 90s books. I know they're not worth much, but you want to take a look at them and make me an offer? And I said, sure. I was like, with the comics. So we met up and I looked through the boxes, made him a fair offer, and I came home with, well, it was in like a big black and yellow bin, like a huge bin. And he said there were about 500 books. I said, yeah, that's about right. Might be a little less, a little more. I got it home, started sorting through, put it in long boxes. It ended up being about 2.5 long boxes, so almost everything was bagged and board, so it might have been closer to about 600 books, 500 to 600. So these books right here are the best ones out of the collection when I factor in condition and whether it's a key issue or not. So we'll just go through them all real quick. And there's some interesting stuff. Not all these are keys, just some cool stuff I found. So first one is stack number 1. And there's been a lot of heat with this, thinking they're going to bring it back in a movie or something for years. I don't know. There was another volume of the comic called Static Shock that was out in the New 52 era, but haven't really done a lot with the character lately, so I always pick these up when I see them. I think Milestone is actually coming back again too, so we could have another volume of the comics. Superman Man of Steel number 18, first appearance of Doomsday. I've had a few copies of this over the years. It's always a solid, $10, $20, $30 book, especially in nice condition. It's probably it's a nice near mint copy. Not worth sending to CGC though. Next one is Mark Spector Moon Knight 57. Now this I was really happy to find. I did not see this when I was flipping through the books the first time. I looked through almost every book because it was in a bin, and the guy thought he had some books that weren't in there, so we went through it again and just to make sure that they weren't in there, and I think somebody else might have picked them. But anyway, we got, yeah, number 57. This is an homage, obviously, to Amazing Spider-Man 300. Never had this book. This was the only Moon Knight book that was in the entire bin, which was super weird. Luckily, the condition was saved a little bit. I mean, it's not trash, but it's maybe very fine near mint. So happy to have that one. I've never had that one before. Here's another book I've never had before. Harbinger number 4. Not in great condition. I'm probably going to try to press this one. It still probably will not be sent on to CGC. But it's an early Harbinger issue. I don't think I've ever had a Harbinger issue before issue 9 or 10 until this lot. And unfortunately there weren't any. There was an 8 and a 9, but there wasn't any before or after this, considering Harbinger. So either somebody picked it before me, because there was a lot of Valiant in this lot, but very happy to get this one at least. So this is a series I've never had in any collections I bought. It's Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, number 1. Now this book in 9.8 can go for about $100 to $200. This isn't nice enough to get graded, I don't think. There's some spine ticks over here. But I've just never had these in any collections I bought. I know D&D is huge. I don't personally play it. I have some friends that do, but just an interesting book. I think it had pretty much a near complete run of this up to about issue, I think, 50 or so. But there were some issues missing here and there. But here's the number 1 from that. Haven't had that one before. And we got a Spawn number 1. Not grading worthy by any means, but I always like to find these in collections. You know, it's even in decent condition, it's an easy $10 book all day long, as long as it's not too terrible. Now this one I may be sending on to CGC. This is Spawn number 55. It's a pretty cool cover there. Anything that's early Spawn that's, you know, 9.8 worthy, it's probably worth sending into CGC. I mean, some of the issues, you know, can get up to $100, $200, $300 if you have the right issue, but this one, we'll see if we send it in. I'm not sure yet, but it was very nice. And there was a probably near complete run of Spawn 1 through about 28, and all those were in varying conditions, nothing that great. And then there was a few in the 40s and 50s, none of the bigger keys, but that one's nice enough I might send it in. Then there's a whole bunch of what we see all the time, these holofoil, you know, gimmick books that were out in the 90s. So I'm just going to show you guys a few of my favorite ones of that. It seems like in this collection they had about every possible, you know, holofoil that came out from like, what was it, when it started, you know, late 80s to the early 90s. Like this one here is from 93. So Sensational She-Hulk number 50. It's got a big ding or dent right here, so won't be going to CGC, but I do love this book. I love this cover. Just a cool green and black holofoil looking thing. You got Guardians of the Galaxy number 25, another one of those holofoil books. Not really worth a lot, I just thought it was a cool cover. Galactus there. And here's a few of the other kind of gimmicky ones. You got Super Soldiers number 1 with the silver foil up there. You got Fantastic Four 371, just an all-white cover. We got Doom 2099 number 1. Some more silver foil going on in there. Some of the silver foil, or excuse me, some of the foil books can, you know, be worth something if they are a key and if they're in high grade. I might be sending this one to CGC, Spider-Man 2099 number 1. I've had a few copies of this book, never one this nice though, which really is shocking how these books were just thrown in this tub that even any of these are 9.8 worthy. But this is probably 9.6, 9.8 worthy. So I'll be sending that one in most likely. Now this book, I really didn't even know what it was when I saw it. I've never had a copy. I had to do some research on it. Deathmate Black, the gold variant. So the regular version of this cover is just kind of black with a little bit of gray on this side here. But this one's gold. This one, I don't really know the whole story, if it was a, you know, 1 in 100 or if it was like some kind of special mail away thing or what. I didn't get that far into it, but I know the value of this one is pretty ridiculous. I'm probably gonna send this one into CGC. Has a good shot at a 9.8. This is the first appearance of Gen 13. That's why this book is significant. There were quite a few of these Deathmate books. They had like blue and black, and then there were prologues and epilogues, and there are variants of all those, of a lot of the different ones anyway. But I've never really had a collection yet that I've bought that had any of the variants in it at least, so this was very cool to get. Incredible Hulk Future Imperfect #1, and I've got part #2 here to go with it. This is the first appearance of the Maestro that just came out, I want to say a few weeks ago. And this is nice enough that I probably will submit it into CGC for this #1. The #2 wasn't quite as nice. This one definitely has a shot at 9.6, 9.8. So happy to get those in the collection. Yeah, once again, those are like an embossed cover. This collection had probably a good 70-80% of the Marvel stuff that was in it, and even the other publishers, was like the, you know, specialty holofoil and embossed and all that stuff. Speaking of, here's another one. Secret Defenders #12. A cool Thanos cover there. It seemed like a lot of the collection was in the era of the Infinity Gauntlet and all of the other Thanos. Like, there was a pretty good run of Silver Surfer, but all of the bigger keys had already been pulled, so that was kind of a bummer, but still some cool Thanos stuff. But speaking of, the Infinity Gauntlet #1. This is a lower grade. It has like a corner stain down here. They had almost a full run of the Infinity Gauntlet. It was 1 through 6, obviously, but minus #4 was missing. And then there was a full run of the Infinity Crusade and almost complete run of Infinity War. This one I've actually never seen before. It is a spoof of that last book I just showed you. So you have the Infinity Gauntlet, and then you've got What the #24. And obviously just a direct spoof of that. Let's look at what it says, and it says, "I'm the master of space-time and barbecue sauce." And he's barbecuing all of the Avengers and then some. And in this issue we roast the Infinity Gauntlet, and on his oven mitt that is the Infinity Gauntlet, it says Cosmic Cook. So that's kind of a funny spoof cover. Speaking of Thanos, Thanos Quest Book 1. I've had this book a couple times. This one may be going to CGC, it is nice enough. Book 2 is not included in here, just Book 1. It's always a cool book. This was interesting. It's not really, I mean, if I want to send these into CGC, I could. They're about $50-60 a piece and 9.8. I think with the quick little press, if I did that, you know, they would probably all be 9.8s, but I got 4 copies of Pit #1, the 90s gem. But probably not going to do a whole lot with that. I just thought it was interesting they had 4 copies, because a lot of people in the 90s were, you know, speculating, as they do now, but buying multiple copies, and just goes to show how many they had. And the last book is Prophet #1. This is a pretty nice copy. If anything heats up, especially with it, I'll probably send it into CGC, but for right now it's going to stay in the collection as a high grade copy. So that's all for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, I really appreciate a like, a subscription to the channel, and hit that bell notification that lets you know when I post new content. I am still doing a 100 subscriber giveaway. We're just about there. So once we get to 100 subscribers, we're going to be giving away those 3 key New Mutants comics. If you haven't looked at that video and entered the contest yet, I recommend going to check out that one. I think it'll be up here. That was a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed seeing the collections and all my pickups from the last week. I'll definitely be doing more of these videos here soon, so thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you next time.